Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special, very special video. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am, yes, a loyal member of TEC. And what that means is when TEC got into the big um, SP, or no, what is it, dude? I forget what it's called. I'm dumb. It's like the 500. It was a big draft league tournament, basically, a team tour. Um, and basically, we got into that as one of the teams, one of the servers that made it in. And lo and behold, Orange came to your boy and was like, "I really don't want you on our team, but we have to because we're losing. We need bodies." And I said, "I'll be on the team. Sounds good." So originally, I wasn't gonna start week one, but this has been like, I don't know, a process has been like 2 months in the works. It feels like it's been forever. But what happens is, everybody on your team gets access to a document in tiers, and you have to make an 8-mon team for everybody with no crossovers. So you look at one tier sheet, and everybody on your team needs 8 mons from that tier sheet, and none of you can share. So of your teammates, only one of you will have Mega Gallade. No one else on my team can have Mega Gallade, but people on other teams can have Mega Gallade because they use a different set of tiers to like pick their guys or whatever. Now, what's exhilarating about this particular instance and situation is that I've never played 8mon. Not only have I never played 8mon, but as far as people go, nobody really knows our server. Unless they do, and I just don't know that they know. But from what I understand and what Orange has talked about, nobody really knows who we are. I mean, obviously everyone knows who like Orin and JK are. I'm pretty sure. Like they're pretty popular. But most of us are kind of just nobody knows about us and nobody cares. So we're kind of apparently we're like the underdogs, which is cool. I don't mind. I don't mind being an underdog. It's cool. It's nice down here. And so because obviously nobody knows who I am because they're not in a server with me. I have no idea who anybody is. So when the matchups came this week, I was like, I have no idea who we're playing. I mean, I know who we're playing NPDA, but I have no idea why they're good. Like I've never heard of this team before. Not because they're not popular, guys. Just I'm not trying to throw shade. Just simply because I only exist in TEC. I play in TEC and then I don't play in TEC until the next season, and then I play in TEC again. That's it. That's the extent of my draft league. Um, Basically, the extent of my draft league ability and experiences. I play in those, and I pretty much have no idea on any of the other servers, like how good they are, how like who the people are, who the champions are, or anything. So it's like, all right, well we play NPD8, no idea who anyone is. I see the matchups, and it's this gentleman, or this general person, this miss, they them, I don't know, named FackLuigi. And I'm just gonna refer to them as Luigi from now on because I'm not saying the first word again. It just feels I'm not saying it. So Luigi, super nice person. They pull up. I actually pull up and we schedule, and I start prepping right away, instantaneously. And you can see the matchup right here on the screen as I've talked for the last 3.5 minutes. This was what we were working with here. So as you can probably see, right, the matchup not particularly brilliant, mainly because Diancie's on the other side, and Diancie really messes me up. So as you can see, defensively, we're kind of in a weird spot here. What I was looking at is because we can't really cover everything, right? Victini, Scizor, by themselves are like enough of a problem, right? And our team defensively is kind of picked apart, if that makes sense. So Victini is like hardwalled by Gastrodon in most cases, except it will probably have Energy Ball, which really sucks for me. I can run Rindo Berry on it, but assuming that my opponent U-turns once and is banded, it can just V-create 2 times and just kill me after the U-turn chip. Or they can just hard Energy Ball and I'm done. I'm like donezo. But those two aren't even the biggest problem. Those two are like not even, they are very big problems, but not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is Diancie. Diancie is very much annoying because after a rock polish, I don't really have much to do against it. Gastrodon is going to be baited by literally Scizor, Electivire, and Victini. So getting chip on Gastro is not too big of a deal for my opponent. And then at that point, after a little bit of chip on like Aegislash, Diancie's in a really good spot to like set up one time and sweep. It doesn't even need a rock polish boost if they can get website. If webs go up, then all you need is like a calm mind, which is what came a lot. Pretty much every time in mocks, it was like this weird play rough calm mind earth power, uh, like rock polish set. It was rock polish 3 attack. Basically everything had rock polish or calm mind in mocks, um, and I ran quite a bit of mocks because the matchup was quite atrocious. Um, at least because I'm bad at the game. It might not be that bad in reality, but it feels like a 70-30 matchup in Luigi's favor, or it could be because I'm awful at the game. Both are very realistically possible. Now, Clefable on my side is a very solid win con. I could run Cosmic Power, Calm Mind of some sort. However, there is a Dark type on the other side of the screen, which I'm pretty sure is coming. Simply because Aegislash, Specs Aegislash is super solid. In fact, that was the first set Sun suggested. It didn't end up going on, but it was a suggested set. The main reason it didn't go on is because I thought it was a bad set. Actually, I think it was a bad set, but because I couldn't deal with the ANSI. So, originally, I don't know if I'm supposed to show my sets. I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to. However, I don't really care, and I've already posted them, so they're already out there, so it's already too late. So I will be showing my sets for this week. I think I'm going to be covering all of our games, like TEC's games, all together. Like as a whole, we're going to go through the whole week together. But I'm making my own special video on my game because it's my channel. Haha. Now, Noivern is pretty solid against my opponent here, as you can see. Really good. I'm worried because everything that they can bring is like really good. On my team, I guess it's the same thing. Everything on my team has a set against his team or their team. I don't know. But yeah, let's just go ahead and look at the. Oh my goodness, which is the one? This one. All right. Cool. So here we have physically defensive Drapion with toxic spikes. If I can get a couple of layers of spikes up, even just one layer of spikes up before the ANSI megas, it's super valuable for the team. Big value. Knock off Firefang toxic spikes. Is a very solid set. Knock off it. Well, this speed. This thing outspeeds Victini after -1, and since it's physically defensive, it can take one. This was originally going to be the lead, but after mocking like once or twice, I realized it's a bad lead because if the opponent leads the ANSI, I'm just in trouble. And originally, I didn't have Ritsu, which is my gash. We'll get to that. So it's physically defensive, very simple. Firefang knockoff. They can both take on a few things. It's mainly there as a backup for Victini and for. Actually, this I guess technically this would work better in tandem as like a main check for Victini, as you can kind of check if you can take a V create pretty comfortably, or not comfortably. You can just take a V create, and you can also eat a energy ball. So it's a pretty solid first switch in to scout things. Taunt is for an anti in a situation where I don't want to get webs up. Pretty simple set. Sun suggested this at the beginning when I didn't have Drapion on the team. Very good bring, in my opinion. I named it Galliard because if you know, you know. I'm not going to explain the names. I will actually if it gets to a point where I need to. In which case, and what I mean by need to is just I want to. Gojo the Mega Gallade, Close Combat Knockoff, Rock Slide, Swords Dance. I originally had Shadow Sneak on here over Knockoff, but most of the items my mock opponents brought didn't really care about the, what is it called, Cobra Berry. I also was expecting Scarf Victini. Not expecting it, but I thought it was possible that it comes. So having whatever it's called, having Shadow Sneak was pretty useful in case things get chipped. But since I have Ritsu and Galliard, I figured Knockoff is better just in case it's not Scarfed, and then Knockoff is just a better set anyway. It also can help me take care of the, what is that thing called? The big, ugly, like, Iron Golem guy. It can help me take care of that as well. Rock Slide, there's like 60 to 70, potentially 60 to 80 depending on the set on the spider guy, which can be annoying. I have enough speed to outspeed Zarude. I've forfeited the speed situation. I'm not going to try speed tie with Diancie. It's just not my deal, especially when there are a lot of other things that can just outspeed me, and we're just going to have to deal with that guy that different way. Next is Reinhardt. We have Aegis left with Shukaberry, Close Combat, Shadow Claw, Ironhead, Shadow Sneak with enough speed to outspeed Golem and below. Golurk and below, that's the name. It's a pretty solid set. Again, the only thing you really switch into a strong ghost type move, and I think you have to respect Shadow Ball and you have to respect Specs and Bandit this game, is that Zarude. If Zarude doesn't come, you're probably running some sort of Tropical set, I guess, so you don't get blown back by close combat. Because after the CC or the Sacred Sword or whatever it is, the Spec Shadow Ball or Bandit Shadow Claw are both really free. I messed with a couple different Aegis sets. It was like Weakness Policy, Agility, or not Agility, Autotomized and stuff like that. This is the one I ended up settling on. It was way better in games where, what do you call that? The Gudra came, and it was more overall more solid. Still lets me tack Shadow Sneak on for the Victini just in case, or just in case I need a little bit of extra priority to clean up a kill. Next is Ritsu, the Gastrodon, with a Rindo Berry, Scald Stone Edge, Toxic Recover. It's a pretty interesting set. If I was able to somehow, in a situation where I had a little bit of chip on the bug guy, or I had like 1 or 2 turns of toxic damage, 2 Stone Edges was a kill. I have enough speed to outspeed it, which is what the speed EVs are for, and the rest are just thrown into defenses to better take on the physical threats. If Electivire does come, Gastrodon is going to be a bit more busy with Electivire, which means our Victini check is going to be a little bit more reliant on Galliard, which is fine. I can kind of deal with everything and not everything at the same time. It's kind of weird. Like, I can't really deal with anything, but I also can deal with everything. It just depends on what they bring and what like what do you call the sequences and positionings are of the game at the time. Next we have Physically Defensive Rotomo with Leaf Storm, Volt Switch, Willow, Defog. Defog is just in case webs go up, and I really don't want webs to go up. But if they do go up, I can't have them stay, so I have to bring Defog. I believe I would speed Scizor or something. I know what the speed's for. If I thought about it for a little more, I probably could tell you, but I'm not going to think about it for too much longer. Volt Switch immunities on my opponent's side, they have Golurk, which gets blown apart by a Leaf Storm and does not want to take a Will-O-Wisp, or they have what is it called? Motor Drive, Electivire. Those are both of their electric immunities. So I'm not going to run Thunderbolt. I just think that these 4 moves are better. And the final set is Unaware Fable. I didn't name it, but that's its name. Unaware Fable. Main reason being is Cosmic Power. Soft Boiled is really good against my opponent. If I can get 1 or 2 up, say on Zarude or on, I don't know, like a -2 Gudra or something. If I can get +1 up, I can pretty much get +2 pretty safely. And if I get high enough, it's just very hard for my opponent to come back from the game. Come back into it. The one way they did have a really easy way around it is running their own like Draining Kiss, Calm Mind set of Diancie, in which case I get blown back, so I have Unaware for that just in case. Moonblast, Flamethrower are the 2 best moves against his team. Moonblast hits everything except Scizor, and then Scizor gets cooked by Flamethrower. So a very simple set. Pretty simple team. It's not too elaborate, but yeah, it's alright. And so here we are at the battle. And just so I have it clear, Gudra and what is this called? Electivire came to very little of the mocks. I would say out of like all the mocks I did, they came like 2 or 3 games, and I probably did like 20 mocks probably. Not like of rebuilding every team, but like I'd play like 2 or 3 mocks per iteration of a team. Simply because I'm bad at the game. And so I'm looking at the lead matchup opportunities, and no Zarude is pretty big. Also, no Gerlich is pretty nice as well. It makes knockoff a little less. I mean, knockoff is not super free at all because Diancie's like the king of taking a knockoff. And so I'm kind of lost. Originally, I was going to have Drapion lead on Victini lead because Victini lead seemed pretty solid. But the more I looked at the matchup, the more I thought about it, the more Diancie seemed like just a much better lead in general. And so I go ahead and I lead Rotom because I can't let Diancie in for free. If Diancie comes in for free and I get blown apart, the only thing that I can really switch into is Gastrodon. And Gastrodon kind of needs to be healthy. Its health is a bit more important now that Victini and Electivire are here. If Victini and Electivire wasn't here, I might be a bit more comfortable, but having both of them here at the same time means Gastrodon's back's a little bit more danger. It has to carry a bit more defensive presence and has to be spread out a bit more. So I go ahead. We decide to play on no timer because Luigi's the GOAT, and Diancie is led as I expected on the Rotom. I go ahead and Volt Switch out on turn 1. Oh no, actually I'm a liar. I Will-O-Wisp, mainly because why did I do that? Well, because he's gonna die, right? If he stays in and megas, or doesn't even need to mega. Like Rotom can just blow this guy back. And so either he predicts the Volt Switch and goes Electivire to get the +1 speed, which isn't super valuable at the point in time because then he has to make it double back into two. Like he doesn't really love to hang on Gastrodon. He has to make a double into Teeny and at that point have Rindo Berry. So he needs to wait on the information for Gastro. So I thought he could go Electivire, but it wasn't as likely. Firing off a burn is pretty solid no matter what though. Obviously, if he goes into Victini, it's not very solid, but I don't think you want to risk HP on your Victini and me getting momentum into Gastro. Again, I think I just talked about it's not super solid for my opponent. We spent quite a bit of time on this turn, I believe, because it was just a lot to go on. So I go ahead and Will-O-Wisp, and at this point I'm a bit more comfortable that he's going to stay in and just try to Ice Beam me or something. But I just go hard Drapion on the Earthquake, which is a good read by my opponent. I'm not sure what they're expecting, but that Earthquake damage is huge. That does like an unnatural, unholy amount of damage, and I logged down in the back of my mind that is definitely max physical attack. And then later on in the game I check it, and yes, it is max physical. I think it's adamant too, I'm not sure. But the only way to do that much damage off a burn with Earthquake to this Drapion is if you're like super physical, which is interesting. It's probably running some sort of Earthquake, Power Whip, and then I predict Iron Tail, which comes in later, but you'll see. So Galliard's here. Knockoff is pretty free, but I don't really care about knockoff, as I say, because Dancy comes in, and getting that one layer of Toxic Spike is super nice for me. Dancy, remember, we have a hard time switching into. My best switching for is Rotom. And then, thanks to JK, we do see it correctly, and Play Rough does come over Moonblast, which is really good for me, because I can take two, and that's why I can take either two Moonblasts, if I go Spadef, or two Play Roughs. So it was like kind of a gamble on if I wanted to be physically defensive or especially defensive on this Rotom, but physically defensive works out. Victini comes in as I Leaf Storm, and this is pretty big. My special attack harshly falls, which is like whatever. It doesn't really matter too much because I got switch anyway. But Victini reveals Boots, so I go Gastron right away because my opponent so far has played pretty conservatively. I don't really know what type of a player Luigi is. And Luigi doesn't know what type of a player I am, I'm assuming, unless he does, and I literally don't remember ever playing this guy before, which is possible. I'm very forgetful. And so, because he's playing very conservative so far, or they're playing very conservative so far, I decided to just go Ritsu right away, and my opponent is obviously not choiced. I don't think they risk the potential Rindo Berry right away, but I go ahead and Scald because Scald is very free against my opponent. If he comes out on Arachnid, he gets poisoned. And like I said, it's pretty good damage. I go ahead and go for the Scald on the Scizor. I switch in Rotom because I don't want to risk getting set up on. If he sets up an SD here, I can go ahead and Will-O-Wisp and Volt Switch out. And then Galator Aegislash can take it down at that point. But he goes ahead and defogs, which is fine. It sucks, but it's fine. I mean, out of all the situations, it's probably not the worst that happens. I Volt Switch out on the Victini here, which is nice for me, getting the momentum back. And then Gastrodon comes back in because, again, he doesn't really super love to be in against Gastrodon. Arachnid comes out here, and I believe I just Scald, yeah? I just go ahead and Scald off. And then I think I throw off Toxic and miss. And right here is when, like, I started getting mentally, like, oh my gosh, I'm, like, really going to lose. Because I wasn't even that big of a deal. I missed Toxic, which is, like, whatever, that sucks, but okay. And then the webs go down, and I start freaking out a bit. But, you know, we move. My opponent can Ice Beam or whatever, but I just go straight into Motor Mode because I can take whatever, and Goodra comes out, which is cool. I like that play by my opponent. I think it's mainly because Power Whip, right? Like, this is still going to blow me back, or at least get rid of my whatever. But Goodra comes in here, which is nice. It gives me the freest defog ever. I thought about Volt Switching, but it's a bad play. I just go ahead and defog. And then now, since my opponent last time fired off the V-Create, I think they think that maybe I'm a bit lax and I'm not gonna predict like a U-turn or a energy ball. So this time I play a little bit more. I guess I make a read here. I go Drapion just because I can take both right now, and I am predicting an energy ball. Not worth losing my Rindo Berry. I am correct, and I get another free knockoff. I can't really put up another layer of Spike because I could just set up spikes on my own side, which sucks. But I know Dancy's coming, and I go ahead and double back out into Gastrodon. Remember, he doesn't really love Gastrodon, so I'm in a pretty good spot. Arachnid's baited back out again. I go ahead and Scald, because if I Toxic myself, I'll never live it down. And then Arachnoid wants to put up webs again, I'm assuming. So I just go ahead and take the Toxic Trade, knowing I can pretty much defog on the Gudra indefinitely, and I can defog on Arachnoid, and I can defog on Scizor, and potentially an Electivire if it's depending on the set. Because I have my suspicions now. Because he doesn't particularly know I wasn't going to bring my Noivern, I'm assuming this Electivire is a Scarf set. Because he needs something that can kind of not get blown apart. He could be AV Gudra, like max physical attack, max HP, and then Assault Vest Gudra to take on a Draco. But originally I had a, I'm not going to say the set, but basically I had a really good Gudra, or Noivern set. I just couldn't fit it on. Or I didn't want to fit it on. I could have fit it on, but I didn't want to. And so if he's not running some sort of Scarf Glaciate, I'm going to assume there's Scarf Ice Punch Electivire in the back here, which is how I'm playing the game. I go ahead and get rid of the things again. Or actually, they don't even put up webs. I go out into this preemptively expecting webs to go up, and I force this thing out, I think. I believe I forced this out into Electivire. Yep, that's what I was expecting. And so this is pretty good information for me. He goes ahead and reveals Volt Switch and Timid, or not Timid. He reveals that he's a negative special attack nature, which is cool for me. I go ahead and fire off a Shadow Claw. Gooey comes out, but I'm not too worried about it. We do have the Shadow Sneak to take this Gudra out. And Gudra being... Oh, actually, I lied. I thought about taking it out there. But then if that happens, Victini comes in for free, and I have to make it 50-50, which is not PogChamp. I go ahead and go into Clef here on the Outrage, which is a good play by me. Very proud of that play. And I go ahead and clip Cosmic Power here. Iron Tail, not shocked Iron Tail comes out, but my defense drops, which is really sucky. I needed not to get defense drop there, because I would have gotten to +2, and then I would have been able to heal up, and then I'm in a really good spot to at least take one with me. Iron Tail comes out again, and I drop, and I couldn't tell, like, at this point, I was like, is it a 100% chance for Iron Tail to, like, drop your defense? But it's not. I just got unlucky, which is whatever. Sucks, but whatever. I get rid of the Gudra a bit haphazardly, unfortunately, but whatever. I'm expecting Diamond Storm because my defense is so low, so I go into Clef here, and they reveal Sub, which really is bad because I can't trade my Shuka Berry for damage now. So I go black into Clef to sack it off, which is really unfortunate because Clef was really good this game, especially since Victini was already at 51. But I have to sack the Clef thanks to the double physical defense drop, which is whatever. Gastro comes in here, and I have to sack Gastrodon to break the substitute, which is annoying, but because Victini is not Scarfed, I have two things, or I have one thing that can outspeed it, and I have to like a little bit more chip. Shadow Sneak will kill it. So I decide Ritu has to die, and plus I can't let this thing have a sub. That's the priority, or else I will just straight up lose. My opponent's substitute here, which is fine because of this percentage, even in shield form, or even in sword form, I can go ahead and I can take an Earth Power, assuming no critical hit. Earth Power comes out, I down my Shuka Berry, and Diancie's going to drop, which is the biggest threat off the field. And now I'm feeling a bit better. I'm still pretty nervous, I'm still pretty worried, but it definitely feels way more winnable. Now Electivire comes out here, and I'm very sure it's Scarf, but I don't really want to switch anything in. So I go ahead and sack off my Aegislash. My thought process being, if he switches out and then Gallade is in on Arachnoid, he can get webs up, which is not super good for me because getting defogs off on potential U-turn or Bug Bite, Scizor, Ice Punch, Electivire, and Victini is like really hard, so I don't want to give him a chance to set up again. If I go into Drapion, I don't really want to do that because Drapion has a good matchup with all three of these guys. And then I don't want to take damage on Gallade, or if I don't want to get unlucky and him just, wild charge and blow up my Gallade. And so I go ahead and give him momentum, which is okay. Scizor comes out, I go into Drapion, and then I can't let him set up, so I just go ahead for a Fire Fang. I get the burn, which sucks, and Citrus Berry pops, but you'll see why I don't know if that matters too much in the grand scheme of things. It is unlucky, it does suck, obviously. But since the burn is here and he hasn't revealed Sword Dance yet, I just go ahead and knock off to get rid of the item. Actually, I'm an idiot. The item was popped. I think that was like I clicked the skip button. Skip does stuff to a man. Arachnoid comes out here, and I go ahead and taunt because I can't let this thing have webs. It's just not an option. There's too many ways for him to keep the webs up if they go up, so I just taunt, risk taking the liquidation or whatever. And then I think I go ahead and go back into Rotom Mow and just sack it off, right? Yeah, I go into Rotom's. I don't think that was meant to kill, but it does kill. So that sucks a bit, but it's not that big of a deal. Galliard and Galade are in a really good position here. I go ahead and I click Rock Slide as the scissor comes in, which is annoying, but doesn't super matter. Again, CC is really free against my opponent. It's just the burn is up. This is where the burn does matter, though. The burn, it would have done, like, I think 60 to 70%. Oh, no, it would have done, like, I don't know, 40, 50%, which is obviously still sucks, but whatever. Scissor goes down there, and Electivire comes out. The thing that's cool about this position here, which I'm really happy about, once the Scissor goes down, is there's not really much for my opponent to do, right? If they go Araquanid, I Rock Slide and kill it. If they go Victini, they already revealed Boot, so they're not Scarf and they're not Colbur. So they're forced into Electivire here. I go ahead and go Drapion on the Volt Switch, I believe. Yeah, on the Volt Switch. Because I'm just trying to play pretty safe here. Victini and this guy, I'm both faster than it, and I've calced it. I know I can take one hit from the Electivire as long as I'm not at a minus, because I was at minus here, right? Because I CC and then I was at minus, so I can't stay in. But I can take a Wild Charge without the minus from CC. So I'm in a pretty good solid spot here. These two got outsped by Galade, and this one can't kill me unless it crits. Iraq, when it comes in here, I believe I just taunt, because again, if webs go up now for real, I'm actually done, because I don't have a defogger left. They Liquidation, which is totally fine by me. Toxic goes down, brings it down to 30%. He's taunted. I go ahead and knock off and pick up the kill, which is nice. Boots go away. Not a big deal. And now I'm in a pretty nice spot. So instead of they could have potentially won this game on a crit if they went Victini, killed me, and then stacked off the Tini and had Electivire, Gojo together. But instead, what happens here is my opponent Wild Charges, and then I live and I knock him off, which is really big. The way they could have won off a crit is if they went Victini, killed Galliard with Victini. I brought out my Galade, they sack off Victini, and then they bring in Electivire and Wild Charge and pray for a crit. But as I suspected, Scarf is gone, which means both these guys no longer outspeed Mega Galade, and in fact, a Wild Charge will down Electivire itself, and I don't have to worry about it. So Electivire goes down, and it's just Victini and Galade left, and Galade has knockoff, as we talked about. No chance to miss, and it just picks up the kill. So we do beat Luigi 1-0. Really big GG's to my opponent. Very good with scheduling. Sometimes in like big team tours, it gets really frustrating to schedule and stuff, but he was super cool. Everyone at MPBA has been really nice. And so, yeah, nothing but good luck to Luigi and the rest of the team going forward. But yeah, goodbye. God bless. Have a great day.